you all so much for being here tonight. We're going to start off with a little Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. In the rafters. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Thank you all so much for being here tonight on this cold night, but the snow held out, so that worked out for us. Thank you to everyone who is joining us virtually. My name is Tova McGilvray. I am the Temple's first vice president, and I'll be filling in while the rabbis are away. I'm still very green at leading a service, but being in front of you tonight fills me with energy, and just thank you for this chance to turn fear into accomplishment. And as I like to remind myself, God never minds a bum note. So, as always, we are praying out of Mishkan Tefillah, and if you are online, you can download the virtual Seder at templesinai.reno.org. If we could all please turn to page 8 together, and we will read in the English. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no service, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. I would like to please call up Morgan Sherman to lead us in lighting our Shabbos candles. The blessing can be found on page 2. You want to help me with the song? I would love to help you with the song. Wonderful. I'll let you start. I don't know the song. Now why are both of us up here? I know, exactly. It's the blind leading the blind, but we're going to turn on the lights. Light first. Fire safety, kids. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Thank you so much. Almighty God, grant me and my loved ones a chance to truly rest on this Shabbat. May the light of the candles drive out from among us the spirit of anger, the spirit of harm. Send your blessings to my children that they may walk in the ways of your Torah, your light. We please continue on page 10 with Hine Ma Tov. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. And we're all warmed up and we're ready to invite in our Shabbat bride. Please join me on page 20 for Lecha Dodi. As is our custom, we will sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. For the final verse, if you are able, please rise and turn to face the doors to welcome the Shabbat bride. Boi kala, boi kala. Lecha Chadodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad hishmianu, echam yuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad. L'shemu tiferet v'letehila, lechadodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lichu v'nilcha ki mikor ha'beracha merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila, lechadodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Hitori, kiva orech, kumi uri, shir daberi, kavod Adonai, ayalech negila, lechadodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret balagam b'simcha utzohola tochu munei am segula. Boi kala, lechadodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. One more time. Lechadodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. You may please be seated. In our hearts, our Shabbat bride is with us. We continue on page 24 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Seitchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. The Chatzi Kaddish can be found on page 26. Yit gadal v'yit shemei rabba, v'amadi v'rachi brutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayetachol beit Yisrael. Bagala, uvizman kariv, v'yimeru, amen. Yeheshmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam u'me'omaya, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudasha brichu, le'la min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'maru. Amen. We please rise for the Baruch Hu on page 28. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. We please read together on the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim. Please join me on page 32 for Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Avta, Amcha Avta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, u'kumenu nasiach b'chuchecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem ha'enu v'yorech yameinu uvachem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla. Ve'achar al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael, ohev amo Yisrael. We are loved. We are here to love and learn and listen. The Shema can be found on page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Kivod Mahuto Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. We continue with the Ahavta found on page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzadecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Leman tizkeru v'hatzitem et kol mitzvotai V'atem kedoshim Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher chotzeiti yadchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet. Whether we lived up to all of that this week or whether we fell short, it's Shabbat now. We read together at the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught. Before where we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get there from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together. Mi Chamocha can be found on page 40. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedabar kodesh, lo ra tehilot osef eleh, malchutecha bra'u banecha, bokeyam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze li anu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. We have crossed over the sea, whether just from a long week or perhaps something much more trying. The flight is over and we can now slow ourselves down and prepare for rest. We please read together at the bottom of page 42. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al ko amo Yisrael, all Yerushalayim. We are kept, and in return, we keep Shabbat. Vishamru can be found on page 44. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beni u'bein b'nei Yisrael od hi le'olam, od hi le'olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et haaretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Vayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafas v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berito olam. Thank you for the woos. As we enter into the Amidah on page 46, if you are able, we ask that you please stand in body or in spirit. As always, when we are done reading communally, you may please continue reading until page 62 or sit down whenever your meditation is complete. Please rise. Adonai Sabatai Titahu Fia Gita Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, B'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanorah, Elayom, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'ima'ot, U'mibei Livnot Livnei V'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol ata rav lechoshia. Mashiv haruach u'marid hagashem. Mechalkel chayim b'chesed. Mechaye hakol berachamim ramim. Somech noflim berofei cholim. Umatir asurim. Umkaye memunato lishenei afar michamocha bal gevurot umidomelach melech memid umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata l'chachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh ha'olam. Atah kidosh v'shimcha kidosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom l'chachalu ha'selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Please continue silent. Oseh Shalom Mimrama, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Be'akol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. One more time. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'yimeru. Amen. Please join me in the English on page 245. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah, and let their children, who do not yet know it, hear, that they too may learn and revere Adonai our God. We are if you'll indulge me, we are proceeding without an actual Torah service tonight, but we can still find the blessing for the study of Torah on page 86. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. While the Torahs are opening up and down in our time zone, we would like to turn our attention to those in the community who are in need of healing. Please, if you're joining us online, place any names of those you are thinking of in the chat so that we can include them in our blessing. We are, our congregation are now thinking of Wendy Alderman, Laura Bartleson, Kathy Bartlett, Tracy Bartlett, Sue Berkhammer, Neil Calder, Laura Cohen, Pat DeVee, Tom DeVee, Alan Gordon, Stephen Gould, Margaret Haberlin, Marlene Harris, Harvey Higdon, Laura Jawad, Kevin Knox, Dave Levine, Harav Miriam Bat Shifra V'Pinchas, Harav Miriam Yael Chaya Bat Sarah, Nechama Chana Bat Shmuel Yitzhak Verut, Tim Ober, Ruth Petersky, Judy Ramos, Peter Ramos, Ray Riker, Shirley Rutgevitz, Sarah Batchava, Marianne Schenker, Charlie Stuckey, David Tourman, Jessica Waddatz, Bobby Wells, Usher Zalek, everyone affected by the coronavirus, the Jewish and other communities still suffering in Ukraine. And if you would like to add your names when my eyes meet yours, you are welcome to do so. Thank you. Our blessing for our Mishabera for healing can be found on page 253. Mishabera avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say Amen. Oh. So we aren't reading Torah tonight, but you'd be silly to think I didn't have some thoughts that I wanted to share. So our parsha for tonight is Vayechi. And I suppose when I think of this parsha, the first thing that you need to know is that skydiving is a birthright for my family. Skydiving is ingrained in our family mythology. My parents went skydiving on their first date. My dad, who at the time aspired to be an Air Force physician, already had the jump scheduled. And Mom, who only had medical school finals to look forward to, said, if I live, great. If I don't, great. So the kids, we grew up hearing this and other skydiving stories and songs. And when we reached jumping age ourselves, taking the leap was just a given. Most of us in our families have our birthrights, blessings, and legacies that we get to inherit. These legacies can shape our identities and push us to lead a bigger life than some other schmo from another family, at least in our niche area of achievement. Artistry, athleticism, musical talent, scholarly curiosity, even downright good looks and charisma. These are some of the gifts in this world that are simply our unique birthright. The other side of that coin is the more detrimental family legacies. In my family, it's having a short temper and an alarming ease at going off on someone. Other people inherited an intense anxiety or perhaps an overly strict parenting style. Even deeper into the shadows may be an inherited disposition towards addiction or repeating patterns of abuse. These dark tendencies can follow families for generations and put real limitations on someone's ability to fulfill their potential. Here in Vayechi, we're at the end of the book of Genesis, and we come to the end of one family's conflicted tradition of deception. Jacob deceives his father Isaac to take his brother's birthright and blessing. He is then tricked by Laban, who gives him Leah as a wife instead of Rachel. Rachel deceives her father by stealing his idols. Joseph is sold into slavery by his brothers, who deceive their father Jacob by faking his bloodied coat of many colors. Here in Vayechi, this family is reunited, and Jacob finally gets to see his beloved Joseph again, and bonus, his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. When Jacob goes to bless the boys, he crosses his arms, bestowing the greater blessing on the second born. My first thought is always that Jacob was anticipating the same deception that he perpetrated against his father, and he wasn't going to be played for a fool. He's been part of this family too long, and anticipating this trick from Joseph, he crosses his arms before giving the blessing. But not so. Joseph calls out the mistake. Not that way, Father. This is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But Jacob refused, saying, I know, my son. He too shall become a people, and he too shall be great. Yet his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. The young brothers do not fight over the birthright, marking an end to this particular family's chain of conflict. That's why our blessing over children reads, may God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. Because if brothers can't get along, how can neighbors and nations be expected to? With this act of blessing, Jacob has freed his family from this burdensome legacy. So how do we undo negative inheritance if we don't have the prophetic abilities of the patriarch Jacob? Vayehi gives us that example too. After all of Jacob's sons see to his burial in the cave of Machpelah, another birthright, Joseph's brothers fear that he might still have an axe to grind with them for selling him into slavery and robbing him of years with his father. Please, I beg of you, forgive the transgression of your brothers and their sin, though they have inflicted harm upon you. They bowed before him and groveled. Here we are your slaves, which is an ironic phrasing for brothers who sold Joseph into slavery. But Joseph surprises everyone by responding, have no fear, for am I in place of God? Joseph lets go. He lets go of a need for payback or revenge to turn the tables on his brothers. He forgives his brothers and lets go of the tortured history. Have no fear, for am I in place of God? Joseph continues, though you intended me harm, God intended it for good. Am I in place of God? While many better scholars than I have looked at this phrase, I see it in understanding that to hold a grudge or to mete out payback and punishment is playing God. And despite this family's history of deception, and despite the harm that Joseph personally suffered from his brothers, Joseph says enough and he forgives. As we embark on this new year with perhaps still a little more energy for a new resolution or commitment, this is a really good one to consider. Is there a family history, a grudge, or a trauma that you've been carrying, which it might be time to let go? It doesn't mean that any wrongs have been made right, but we can ask the same question. Am I in place of God? Or can we strive to be like Ephraim and Manasseh, a fresh start for peace and harmony for the family that we create going forward? So before I bring this drosh to a close, something that's typically done on Friday nights, it's not usually part of our service, is the blessing over our children. And since this is the Parsha that gives us that legacy, I thought I would include it tonight. Go get them. Yes. Go get the kids. So, and I'm gonna fill. We're gonna riff. If you're with your children tonight, beautiful, grab a pumpkin head and we'll get into it. If you are not with your children tonight, please keep them in your hearts. If you don't have children, maybe there's somebody else out there that you would like to bestow this blessing upon. I am going to ask mine to come up here. I brought plans.
Are you sure we're going to do the blessing?
What?
Are you sure we're going to do the blessing?
Well,
Kate is on.
I'm going to read it. This is my mom, Susie, and my dad, Hal, and they were kind enough to be here tonight and supporting me, and I get to finagle a blessing out of them. So, okay. So for the blessing for our children who think of themselves as girls, Yismech Elohim Kasara Karivka Karochel Och Leah. May God make you like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. For the blessings for our children who think of themselves as boys, Yisimcha Elohim Ke'Ephraim V'chi Menashe. May God make you like Ephraim and Menashe. And for our blessings for children of all genders who are enjoying a full expression, Yehi Ratzon Shabbat Zo Tashrei Shechag Ze Yashrei Aleinu Ora Simcha V'Shalom. May this Shabbat bring us joy and peace. And I have one more. Sorry, I thought I had another. On that. Be who you are, and may you be blessed with who you are. Aw. Thank you. I love you.
Okay.
Can I take a quick opportunity to say Birkat HaGomel?
Yes, please. Would you like to?
Yes.
If you come up here, the microphone will pick you up for
Okay.
everyone.
Sorry, this is a little out of the order. Just below the Mishaberach, so I'm Michael, it's nice to meet you all. Just below the Mishaberach, there is a special blessing called the Thanksgiving blessing, Birkat HaGomel. It's not often people have an opportunity to say it, because you're supposed to recite it if you've survived a life-challenging situation. About a month ago, I had serious heart pain. I ended up in the ER. Thankfully, the diagnosis was not as serious as it could have been, but a couple of days ago, actually yesterday, I went for my follow-up appointment and got a clean bill of health. So I now have the opportunity to recite with you the Thanksgiving blessing. So it's the bottom of page 253. So I would say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shegmalanu kol tov. And then below, there is a response. Amen. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to say this blessing. It's the first time in my life I've ever said it. So maybe it'll be the last.
Baruch Hashem, thank you so much for letting us into that experience for you. As we begin the final part of our service tonight with the Eleno at the bottom of 282, Alexa, I'm going to pick on you. I'm going to call up Alexa and Jameson Foley to open our ark doors. Only because I already had my parents up here. There's nepotism and then there's nepotism. So. Please rise as the ark is opened. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'tei gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu k'goyei avratzot v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo sam halkeinu kahem v'goran ככל המונו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשחטים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויסד הארץ, ומשה בקרו בשמיים ננעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אינו, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום ישעת ושמך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל והארץ מתחת אין עוד. Let all of us who dwell on earth acknowledge that unto you every knee must bend and every tongue must swear loyalty. Before you, Adonai, our God, let them pay homage. Let them give glory to your honored name. Let all accept the yoke of your reign, that you may rule over us soon and forever, for sovereignty is yours. And to all eternity you will reign in glory. As is written in your Torah, Adonai will reign forever and ever. On page 286, we read together, the bottom of all of that, thus it has been said, Adonai will become sovereign of all the earth. On that day, Adonai will become one, and God's name will be one. And page 287, we continue. ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא Yireh Adonai echad, U'shemo, U'shemo, U'shemo echad. You may be seated. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. We continue tonight with our mourner's Kaddish. And tonight we are especially remembering, for those in the first year of mourning, Will Spiegelman, Leonard Fusari, James Hawley, Ken Hecht, Roberta Small-Reich, Edward Gingold, Cookie Javinsky, Carol Weinberg, Al Grossman, Jeff Blank, Richie Zorn, Catherine Linsky-Foley, Hank Froelich, Setsuko Alanichuk, Barbara Gonzalez, Aaron Yosef, and the yard sites of Sidney Davis, Daniel Rekovitz, Betty Jo Blauner, Andy Getz, Bella Minnick, Norma Morhar, Lily Zabluski, Hyman Leventhal, Ray Rich, Nikki Stein, Ruth Alderman, Sid Aaron Cohen, John McGregor, Dorothy Reek, Dolly Diamond Cohn, Inge Kaplan, Selma Ginsberg, Alan Greenblatt, Matthew Boris McKean, and Hadassah Small. If there are names that you would like to add, please say them aloud as my eyes meet yours. And if you are online, please share the names of your loved ones in the comments. The Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 294. If it is your custom, please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. Be'alma divarach hivrutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yom echon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach. Le'olam umei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei d'kudasha brichu. Le'en la min kol b'chirata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata damin run b'yama v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. You may be seated. Can I please invite up board member Alexa Foley to read the announcements? Yeah, so yep, you should just be able to do it.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom. Okay. Friday night thank yous. Thank you, Tova McGilvray. I don't think just saying thank you is enough. It's a tough job and we don't have enough people. And this isn't the first time she has risen to this occasion for us. So.
I didn't like how it went the first time, so I trained for this one like it was the Super Bowl.
Such a type A personality. Really? That's what you raised? Okay. Thank you so much to Michael Gorden being the live stream tech. And we do need volunteers. We need Torah chanters. You can contact the rabbis or Marilyn Roberts. We need people to train in as live stream techs, and Michael Gorden can take care of all of that if you just give him a ring. To go neg for everybody, for those who are in person at for those who are in person here at Sinai. After the service, you can grab some challah and juice from the lobby as you leave. It is our to-go neg for after service. The Zoom for those who are online is at sinaireno.org/live to participate. And Saturday morning, we have 10 a.m. Torah study via Zoom, starting with Genesis 49:29. And for details, you can also see sinaireno.org/Torah study. Are we doing the back?
Yeah.
Gosh, see what you raised? Really? Okay. Help wanted. Please join Passover Seder Committee. It is chaired by Sheila Sirkin, and we are planning Passover Seder already for 2023, but they need help. Sheila is asking for folks to join her on the committee to help plan the Seder and make this year an awesome celebration for everyone. If you would like to join the committee or just check it out, see what the requirements are, please contact Sheila by email. It is smg14618@gmail.com, and let her know. Of course, you can always call Mike here at the synagogue, and he'll put you in touch with anybody or anything that I'm rattling off too quickly. Jazz hands, superstar. Okay, Rabbi Ben, this is my good side. Purim spielers wanted now. Practice has begun for a chorus line, thus the jazz hands. Temple Sinai's parody of a chorus line, singers, dancers needed. They have a part for everyone. Practices most Sundays. Contact Rabbi Benjamin for details. Save the date, Saturday, February 5th, 2023 at 4:30 p.m. Tu B'Shabbat Seder at Temple Sinai. Tickets on sale soon. And coming from our library, Beyond Works Book Club, still accepting members. Visit sinaireno.org/library for details. And Restories or Restories, I'm really going to have to check with Jill how to say that. This sounds like an amazing program, y'all. Loaning and delivering books to homebound members. Email sinaireno.library@gmail.com. For those of you who know Jill Flansreich, there you go. And
You, my darling. Our final song for this evening will be Adon Olam on page 321. Adon Olam Asher Malach V'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'ed Nasa V'chefso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Tichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh V'hu Yiyeh B'tifara V'hu Echad V'ein Sheni Laham Shilo Lechach Bira B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit V'lo Ha'oz V'hamizra V'hu Eli V'chai Goali V'tzur Chavli B'eit Sahara V'hu Nisi Umanos Li Manat Kosi Bayom Ekra Biyado Afgid Ruchi Beiti Shan V'yayira V'imruchi Giviati Adonai Li V'lo Ira. Oh, on to Kiddush. The Kiddush can be found. So it's like I have this theory that there is no greater blessing than the blessing after the Haftorah, because like as a young bar mitzvah student, you're like just the flood of relief that comes with being able to say that blessing, and I'm kind of feeling like that right now going into the Kiddush. So. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'matzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lemekra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. I am. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz Shabbat shalom. I know it's a little anticlimactic. Thank you, everyone. Shabbat shalom. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your support. I felt it. I love you. Please enjoy our grab and go neg on your way out, and we'll schmooze outside.